Hello there, my beautiful Cancer signs. This is Rachel with Dark Knight Coaching. Today's video is all about you, Cancer. I have some lovely cards for you here. A lot of shifting energies for sure. A lot of change, a lot of maybe chaos and conflict coming in hot. But in the end, I do feel like it's a positive outcome for you. I feel like the challenges that you're going through right now, Cancer, are divinely guided. It is you're part of your soul's contract, your soul's purpose and mission. But I do feel like it's this like in between phase where you're shedding an old skin and you're trying to kind of feel comfortable in this new norm that you've created now. This is a very kind of eclectic energy that I'm getting. There's not really like one sure thing. But I feel like it's kind of like pieces of a puzzle that are kind of coming together here. Now, the song that I was meditating to before I get on camera was called Just Pretend by Bad Omens. So I'll make Just Pretend the title. But it was a very remorseful message in the lyrics. If you don't want to listen to it, which I do recommend that you check it out, because if you're drawn to this video, chances are there's probably more of a message in music for you. But there is a lot of stuff about regret and remorse here, and some fighting and nostalgia and things like that. So yeah, a lot of mixed message though. But yeah, I'm going to dive into the tarot here. I pull about 13 cards for a Celtic cross spread, and then I pull a bunch of oracle cards for you. So let's go ahead and tap into that energy. Right away, you have Three of Cups, which if you're here about love, this is a card that usually symbolizes third-party situations or some sort of betrayal or deceit in your energy. So if you're not here about love and you're kind of here about just in general, then, you know, that doesn't resonate, then just leave it behind for someone else. But I do feel like for some of you, you might be celebrating something. You might be going out and drinking, partying. You know, New Year's is fast approaching, so I feel like that is kind of that kind of energy as well. But the challenge here and what's crossing you is the Knight of Pentacles. This is very much so an earth energy, but it's a slow moving energy. So this could be, you know, whatever offer or opportunity, or maybe a love interest that you're waiting for to come in is very slow moving. Or it could be you if you're wanting to pursue someone, like you're very cautious about it and taking your sweet, precious time. But the foundation of the situation is fighting and conflict, because the Five of Wands came out. Now, this is kind of an odd message for those of you that aren't here for love, because I do feel like this is mostly love oriented. So I feel like this has to do a lot with a third party. If it's not love for you, then it might be a career move or something that's maybe conflicting, like not working with your schedule, or maybe you didn't get a promotion that you were hoping you were working for. But I do feel like it is all divinely guided, because the Wheel of Fortune is here, and that's a card about, it can be a card about luck. It is mostly a card, I feel like, of moving forward, like the wheel is turning. So it's like things are progressing, whether you like them or not. But I do feel like there is a lot of regret in your energy. So maybe you feel bad about all the time you wasted with someone or something, or something along those lines, but you have the Five of Cups. So Five of Cups is a card of like regret, remorse, looking into the past and wishing things were different. And, you know, in your near future energy, you have the Empress. This is a card of mother wounds, feminine healing, divine goddess energy. This can be a card of fertility as well. This to me just is like you're trying to heal those mother wounds, basically, because if this is third party related, chances are you were drawn to someone who was a lot like your mother, or chances are you were maybe trying to fill some sort of void in your feminine energy with someone else. And that can be traumatic, that can be chaotic, and that can cause conflict and regret and remorse when we're trying to look outside of ourselves through someone else to fill a void that we maybe even didn't consciously realize we had until it was too late, until we've already gone through it. So sometimes that happens, and that can create this conflict as well. Now, in your subconscious energy here, Cancer, you have the Two of Wands. This is a card of planning. It is a portal energy. It's like subconsciously you've made a decision to move forward or to make a plan when it comes to something. I do feel like it is tied to moving forward out of old mindsets, though, because right below that is the Ten of Swords. So the Ten of Swords is like, stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm done with this lifestyle. I'm done with this behavioral pattern. I'm done choosing those sorts of people who are not ready for me, because you've done the healing, because you've done the cleansing, essentially, because maybe you've had an enlightenment or an awakening or an epiphany. And when you realize that you typically, we are drawn to people who are at the same psychological level of trauma as us, we can really use them as a mirror to see where it is we need healing and we need fixing, if we are cognizant and if we are open and receptive and aware, self-aware enough to really absorb the lesson and the blessing that they bring to us. Now, typically what happens in relationships when they don't work out is that someone is doing the healing, someone's doing the work, and the other person is not ready for that. So that's usually when a breakup occurs. And, you know, there's no shame in that. Everyone is on their own path, their own trajectory, their own journey at different times. So, you know, the people who say, like, I'm monogamous and I've only been monogamous my whole life, it's kind of a false narrative, because we're actually, if you've ever dated more than one person, then you have been non-monogamous. So, you know, don't pressure yourself to fit some sort of narrative that is kind of false in nature, because when we have, you know, an ego death or a divorce, or we break up with someone and there was this expectation of, you know, being with them permanently, it's kind of illusory, because nothing lasts forever. You know, if someone passed away and you dated someone else, like, what, you would still technically be non-monogamous because you dated someone else and you moved on. But I feel like it's about the agreement that you have with your partner or the relationship and the expectation from that. So, you know, I'm not sure why I got on this tangent, but I do feel like there's a big disconnection socially and when it comes to monogamy and non-monogamy and what that means to people. Depending on where they're coming from on an emotional level. So take that message as it resonates. But I do feel like you are letting go of some sort of belief, value, or a mindset about someone or something because of that 10 of Swords in your energy. And the portal energy is a great vibe because it's like you're moving forward. And that is basically about the wheel turning. So everything is balanced. And there is progression here. Now, what's in your control here is the Six of Cups energy. This can be a card of like childlike wonder. This is typically a card of maybe a twin flame or a karmic soulmate. I tie this card to nostalgia because this is kind of like blast from the past energy. So if you've been really reflecting on like where it is you've been and where it is you are now, that is within your wheelhouse of control. Now, this is also a card of puppy love occasionally. So if there's somebody from your childhood, you might be hearing from them again. This is a Mercury is in retrograde from, I think, the 26th of November till December 15th. So if you've been waiting to hear from an ex, or an ex has been waiting to hear from you, I do think that is happening for sure, because how people see you is the Ace of Swords and the Temperance card. Now, Ace of Swords is honest adult conversations. Temperance is a Sagittarian energy about balance and patience. The Ace of Swords is also being true to yourself. It's like being in your highest authentic vibration. So maybe having the difficult awakening with yourself that you need to have, like the reality check, that kind of like sometimes it just slaps us in the face where we realize like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Or wow, like, you know, what was I thinking? And it's being honest with yourself about like why it is you did something or where it is you were coming from. And then temperance is also about having like that patience and understanding with yourself and realizing, maybe you didn't make the best decision. And maybe it was a decision out of fear or like you have regret over it and remorse. And maybe that has to do with this third party, because a lot of the times we find ourselves in situations maybe where we were distracting ourselves from pain. And when we do that, it really only is a detriment to ourselves because we're not aligning with our soul. And when you're not aligned with your soul and you're doing something that is painful to you and you kind of know it, it's called sinning, essentially. And that's what I feel like your people see you as healing, but they also see like you're being true to yourself now. And that's by being honest with yourself about where you are in life. Now, in your hopes and fears, Cancer, you have Page of Pentacles. This is a new offer. This is a new seed. This is a new opportunity that you have here. Maybe you're afraid of it. Maybe you're hopeful about it. Maybe this is partially to do with this like honest conversation that you're going to have with some third party. But it is an opportunity for growth and an opportunity that is going to, like, you're going to sow tangible fruits with this in the 3D. Now, the outcome here is very positive. You have the Sun, that's Leo energy, and I feel like this is joy, happiness, fulfillment, however you see that for yourself. But this is a very nice Gemini card, I believe. And I feel like, when you're going through shifts and you're going through changes, there is a lot of baggage from the past that you have to kind of process. And you might be grieving something at this time, but it is about that inner strength and rebuilding your expectation of what it is to love someone and what it is to be loved. And that's kind of what that Empress healing energy is about. Now, that's what I have for you when it comes to tarot. If that helped, please make sure you smash the like button. It helps my channel grow. I greatly appreciate it. If you feel guided, please subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, please feel free to book that on my website. Or if you're interested in a one-on-one coaching session, you can book that on my website as well. And now I'm going to dive into the oracle cards. You have come to the edge, number 36. 36 might be a significant number for you. Come to the edge to me means like you're on the cusp of something. It just might require a little bit of risk taking. Now, you also have, my body is a wondrous and magnificent machine, and I feel privileged to live in it. So make sure you're taking care of your physical health as well as your mental health. I feel like your emotional health is very vital at this time just because you had the 5 and 6 of Cups. So make sure you're seeking the proper guidance for that. That could be therapy, that could be different modalities of therapy, because there's like 1,000 avenues of therapeutic services basically. But something that gets you into a flow state is important, because that card came out, and I'll get into that in a minute here. Now, if you had to choose between the man and the bear, I feel like maybe you are the bear. It says be sensitive to where you are at and reflect on where you would most need healing. So again, I feel like this is like tapping into your masculine side when you need to, and then tapping into this feminine side when you need to. And maybe that's been a hard balance for you in the past. Maybe you've only ever known mostly one way or another, and now you're kind of shifting that, because sometimes we have to be the lion, sometimes we have to be the lamb, and the fluidity of that is essential. Now, the flow card. There we go. Okay. So from my I Ching deck, you had the flow card, number 11. It says flow is a sign of the full expression of tremendous creative energy and spiritual power. Create harmony with the greater flow and pour its energy into creative manifestation. Pettiness and smaller concerns are swept away so that free communication and great things become possible. How we work with this extraordinary potential, and how can you channel the flow of energy to create harmony? Now, when we get into a flow state, it's actually tied to a certain brainwave frequency. Typically, this is called gamma brainwave frequency, and a lot of times you can at least for me, I can really tap into that through music, and that's why I meditate on music and do that sort of thing. But there's also like light therapy can sometimes trigger that brainwave frequency for you, or people that drive cars a lot and they really get into a flow when they're driving. It's almost like you kind of get into that state where like you are driving for 30 minutes and then you realize like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I got here because I didn't even feel like I was present. It was all kind of just muscle memory at some point, and you didn't even consciously know what you were doing. That's kind of a flow state. Now, I'm not encouraging that while driving because it's not very safe to meditate while driving, although sometimes we do it without even realizing it. But I do feel like whatever gets you into flow is vital. So, sometimes that is actually exercising where you're listening to maybe Mozart and you're doing something where you're swinging your arms. There's a study that shows like if you're doing high cardio and you're listening to Mozart and you're swinging your arms, you can get into a really good flow state pretty quickly. And I forget what that study was called, but you might want to Google it because there's lots of cool stuff out there for flow. Now, the next card I have for you is about your third eye. I do feel like some of you might be having your third eye activated because I have this third eye card, and I have a card called Vision that I'll read next. So if you've been having third eye activations, it usually feels like a lot of pressure, a lot of almost like migraine, like in between your eyebrows. Now, if you feel like you need medical help, seek that, obviously. But if you Google the symptoms of a third eye opening, you can also see that sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Now, the ACT card says, what do you want? What is your gut saying? And how can you make this happen? Write a list of pros and cons and cut a way through to reach your goals. Instinctively, you'll know if this is a good choice. So that's trusting your gut instinct. But then you have Vision. This one says, no matter what you see the loving picture. No matter what, you see the bigger picture of a loving, just universe. So maybe some of you need to get your vision checked because I was dyslexic right there and I couldn't read it, which is odd. But something about vision, getting new glasses might be significant. And then you also have the Gossip card. This is tied to your heart chakra. This is a green. That's what the green on the outside is symbolized about. I am seeing stuff about Wicked, but Wicked has been all over social media, so something about Wicked might be significant. But you have gossip. So when people are going to talk about you no matter what, good or bad, right or wrong, that's just kind of what people do sometimes. Not all the times, but I do feel like if there is gossip going around, if it's not true, then whatever. If it's true gossip, still kind of like whatever. What are you going to do about it? So, your perception on how people see you is shifting and changing because of that Ace of Swords and that Temperance card. So it's like maybe you're being honest with yourself finally about how you are perceived publicly. But it's a transition, and people do make mistakes and people grow from them or they don't. So that's totally up to you. But I do feel like you're trying to let go of that because you have the full moon in Scorpio card. It says it's time to release negativity. So Scorpio season might have been a significant time period for you, or you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart. I think if you have Scorpio in your 9th house, you might have some psychic abilities as well. It's either 9th or 8th. I can't remember, but I think it's 9th. So yeah, you might be accessing some of your clair abilities, especially if you have a third eye opening. Now you also have the one. This to me is a card of enlightenment. I'm an intuitive reader, so I don't necessarily go by like the book of whatever the oracle cards say it is, but the one to me is like the chosen one. So you might be having almost like these come to Jesus moments, or these very paranormal experiences that you cannot explain, such as like an out of body experience or very like lucid dreams. And those can be ways that your subconscious communicates with your conscious, or your higher self communicates with your 3D self. But the one to me is a card of like you're kind of tapping into that higher knowing energy or that inner gnosis that we all carry. And maybe that's happening through your heart space as well. Because what happens typically when you go through an enlightenment process and a dark night of the soul, and if you're really open, you not only open your third eye, but you open your heart chakra. And when those things are open and they're in alignment, that's when you can typically access those supernatural paranormal abilities. So that's what I have for you, Cancer. Hopefully this video helped. If it did, please smash the like button. It helps my channel grow. Make sure you go and check out that song. I think it was Just Pretend by Bad Omens. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Again, if you feel guided, please book a one-on-one coaching session on my website, or you can book a personalized tarot session with me as well. I will see you next time.